It all started with a letter. Can't remember how many years it's been since I got one. Lousy email! Hey, it's Janelle Waz, and welcome back to another episode of Waz Reviews. Back in June, I picked up a copy of Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, Special Edition, and it was so good, I made a video about my first impressions of it, and make sure you check out that video. However, I beat the game a couple weeks back, so of course I'm gonna talk about it. Now, you may already know that I'm a huge fan of Harvest Moon, now called Story of Seasons, and a lot of the games follow a similar formula. Grandfather dies, you inherit his farm, and it's up to you to revive it. Maybe even get married and start a family along the way. While Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life does follow that formula, it takes a different approach, focusing on the entire life of a farmer and the passage of time. There were originally 3 A Wonderful Life games, 2 on the GameCube and 1 on the PS2. Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life, Harvest Moon: Another Wonderful Life, which was the girl version, and Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life Special Edition on the PS2, which was not very special. Admittedly though, I never beat any of these games, but nevertheless, I enjoyed them and was excited that the games were getting an updated version for modern consoles. So let's get into this remake, Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, and see what life has to offer. But before I go any further, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I talk a lot about Star Trek, video games, and whatever else I feel like talking about. Be great to have you aboard. We start the game with a guy on the beach, reminiscing about his old friend who died many years ago. Your father. This is Takakura. You sent him a letter dissatisfied with city living and saying you're moving to town to work on the farm. After the character creation screen, where you can choose the appearance and gender of your character, you arrive at the remote rural community of Forgotten Valley. Welcome to Forgotten Valley! We have one other farm, a beach, old people, fireworks technicians, roaming minstrels, a bum, archaeologists who live in the same tent but they swear nothing's going on, a weird scientist, and inn! We have an inn for all those visitors that come to the valley. There's only one. And for the singles out there, we have not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 4 bachelors and 4 bachelorettes. Well, there's a bit of a hard sell, but goodbye, city life!
Green Acres, we are there!
Takakura gives you a grand tour of the farm, and other than some differences here and there, the basic layout of the farm is the same as the original. There's a barn, a chicken coop, a couple of fields for planting, a box for collecting your earnings, and a nice big pasture that you'll have to fertilize. But on the plus side, you're given pretty much everything you need to start a farm. A dog is a lifetime companion, your first cow, great for early profits, and all the tools you'll need, though you can buy a couple other tools during the game. After being introduced to the people around town, a variety bunch of folks by the way, you're let loose to run the farm as you please. Alright, so first things first, let's talk about the basic day-to-day farming you'll be doing throughout this game. While basic farming functions are the same as in any other Story of Seasons or Harvest Moon game, A Wonderful Life approaches them a little differently than the other games. As someone who's played a bunch of different Harvest Moon games over the years, you would think that this would put me off to this game, but it really doesn't. These approaches aren't bad, they're just different, which makes A Wonderful Life unique in the franchise. Though I'm going to focus on the remake in this review rather than the original games. Typically, I earn my fabulous wealth in other Harvest Moon games by growing a bunch of crops, raking in profits from turnips, corn, sweet potatoes, the works. However, in A Wonderful Life, growing crops isn't great for earning big money, which is why I largely ignored it in the GameCube games. That, and you had to water each crop 1 square at a time! However, I made the effort to grow crops in this game, which is even easier now since you can charge up your watering can, as well as the other tools, which makes your farm work a hell of a lot easier. Well, good, because I got crops to plant and things to do. It's still worth growing crops even if they're not big money makers, though you can earn modest money from them. Crops make good gifts for the locals, and this game is big into bonding with your fellow valley dwellers. And what also makes great gifts is cooking, and you'll need fresh veggies for your cooking.
took me 3 months to grow them. Nobody touches my peppers.
You're also encouraged to fertilize your crops to increase quality, which, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of. All this really accomplishes is me saving half my crops to make seed so I don't have to re-fertilize each crop, save a little bit for cooking, and then sell a very small amount to make mini money. It's not great. Nevertheless, it's still worth growing crops, and even good quality crops. Just not for big money. Later in the game, you'll get the ability to make hybrid crops, which sell for a decent amount of money, courtesy of sentient plant Vinny. Hey Vinny! How about mixing up some crops for me? Hybrids sell for more money than standard crops, and rare crops made of two hybrids sell for even more. Did you ever want to grow light bulbs on your farm? Or maybe ocarinas? Or even teapots? Vinny's got you covered.
My cousin Vinny!
So if crops can't earn you big money in this game, then what can? Well, there's a reason the game is called Ranch Story in Japan. For the big money, raising animals is the way to go. Your farm comes with a chicken coop and a barn to keep chickens, ducks, cows, sheep, and the infamous goat. Don't worry, goats aren't useless in this game. And Takakura even gives you a cow at the start of the game to help get you started. And of course, you can collect eggs, wool, and milk from your animals, and the more your animals like you, the higher quality products you'll get. And of course, if you have rarer breeds of cows, you can collect more expensive milk from them. However, like most Harvest Moon concepts in this game, A Wonderful Life works a little differently. Before, in other Harvest Moon games, all animals are implied to be female, and if you wanted more chickens, you simply needed to put an egg in an incubator, and you'll get another chicken. In A Wonderful Life, on the other hand, you'll need female chickens to lay the eggs, and only eggs that are fertilized by a male chicken hatch into new chickens. Before, in other Harvest Moon games, if you wanted more cows, you could give your cow a miracle potion, and she would become pregnant. Now? Well... we're breeding these two, yeah? Alright, they might get nervous with you around, so I'll have to ask you to wait outside for a bit. Yep, that was enough to scar you as a kid. I'm also pretty sure this is why the original games were rated E for suggestive themes. What did you think happens on a farm, kids? Also, if you happen to own a bull, he can randomly get your female cows pregnant. I named my cow Janeway and my bull Chakotay, and, well, they had plenty of babies.
I would never have thought of you as a gardener.
I grew up around farmers.
Thankfully, the remake took out the feature that cows will only give milk after they give birth that the original game had. While it was more realistic, it made space in the barn very limited quickly, and even with the barn expansions in the remake, I'd rather not have to deal with it. And of course, once your chores are done, you'll have to venture out into Forgotten Valley and interact with your neighbors. No, you can't be a hermit farmer in this game. Talk to your neighbors!
Hi, diddly-ho, neighbor.
Get lost, Flanders.
If you played at least one Harvest Moon game, you'll definitely notice that Forgotten Valley is much quieter than other Harvest Moon towns, with only 2 local shops to buy supplies at. Heck, if you need anything fancier than seeds or local coffee shop goodies, you'll have to either put an order in the day before Takakura runs into town, or wait for Van, the traveling salesman who sets up shop twice a month to sell rare goods like fishing poles. Yes, it's a much simpler life than in other Harvest Moon games, but it's a peaceful life, and I kinda dig it. Again, it makes the game feel more unique in the franchise. While other games have everything you need in the stores, not really feeling that much different from being in a regular town, there's more of a sense of isolation in Forgotten Valley. It really feels like it's out in the middle of nowhere, and if you don't have what you need, you'll have to make do with what you have until somebody comes in from the city. It makes the setting feel more rural than other Harvest Moon games, and it really works. But farming, ranching, and all that other stuff is fun and all, but...
What about a family?
That's right, it wouldn't be a Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons game without a little romance. Oh, you wanted to be a single farmer all your life? Maybe play the field for a little while?
too bad.
Yeah, Takakura gets on your case pretty quickly about finding a spouse within a year. I mean, I just met this guy and he's going full Sylvia Fine on me.
She's not married, she's all alone!
There are 4 bachelors and 4 bachelorettes to choose from, each with different personalities and traits. Make sure you choose well because you'll be spending the next 40 or so years with them.
What do you think you're doing for like the next 40 or 50 years?
Now, the bachelorette set is pretty decent. These are some lovely ladies here. Cecilia, formerly known as Celia in the original games, is the local farm girl and a popular choice in the fan base. Molly, formerly known as Muffy, is the sweet cafe girl looking for love and running into all the terrible fish in the sea. Nami, the quiet drifter, is taciturn at first but will slowly warm up to you. And there's Lumina, the local rich girl who loves to play her piano at her grandma's house. Now, the ladies are all fine and all, but I'm out to get me a man. Now, the lads in the original games. Now, to be fair, these characters weren't originally thought of as marriage candidates, and it wasn't until A Wonderful Life that they were even on the market. I've mentioned in my first impressions video that while most of the characters maintained the same basic design with some updated details, some characters, most notably the bachelors, were completely overhauled, which were pretty much hit or miss with me. Gustavo went from being a hippie to a hipster, so that's a no from me.
I'll pass.
Rock looks roughly the same as he did and was clearly the best looking of the original bunch, but, well, I'll let him speak for himself.
I'm all about taking it easy. No work, no pressure, no nothing. Just me, myself, and I living the dream. You'd think an all-play, no-work lifestyle would be chill here, but everyone's got a problem with it. And I'm like, why?
So, what you're telling me, Rock, is that you're...
Damn bum, you know that?
Bum.
Bum.
Admittedly, I feel bad using that clip from Rocky because Rocky was at least trying to scrape by. You're a disgrace to your namesake, Rock! Naturally, I told Rock to get lost. There's also Gordy, formerly known as Cody, who wasn't originally a bachelor, and he does look more like a heartthrob in the remake, but I'm not really into the artsy type. So that leaves the Elvis impersonator. Well, hello there! I mean, sure, he doesn't exactly make a great first impression, but you know what? Neither did Mr. Darcy, and I've crushed on Colin Firth for years.
Excuse me, your parents are in good health.
Even his sister is trying to set us up.
Here's the deal, little bro. If Janelle's ever in a bind, you be sure to give her your full support, alright?
What? Why? Well, he's just really honest.
He's just really honest.
Because the Valley's a hoppin' place with Janelle around.
Vesta, have you ever met me?
I'm really quite dull.
So Matt's kinda shy. That's cool, I can dig it. And clearly the way to his heart is follow him around everywhere and give him milk and crops that I could otherwise sell. I'm guessing that's from your farm. What, are you sharing? Nope, just showing it off? I'd have to be a special kind of jerk to say that line. Heck, I even follow him to the local cafe in his free time. You, come here often? Well, I only see her here when you're here, so— Shut up, Gavin!
You were saying?
Look, I know in real life this would all sound incredibly desperate, but this is how you have a successful relationship in this game. While you woo your potential mate, you'll slowly find out more about them. In the case of Matt, he once worked in the city, but he got sick and had to move to Forgotten Valley for his health. He's been rather cold and distant since then, so clearly I have to be the one to thaw his heart. I mean, who needs all that fancy money and fancy job? We're living the simple life here. And you know what? We're all the better for it. And as you build up affection between you and your special someone, you'll unlock cutscenes that can raise or lower affection based on how you answer. Matt's cutscenes are delightfully awkward and usually involve me being super nice to the point where he gets embarrassed. Vesta mentioned it before, but vegetables are kind of my thing, so let me know if I can ever help you out. You're so nice, thank you. If you were trying to embarrass me, you did a pretty good job, so I think that's enough compliments for one day. Guy, I said you were nice! Well, not that I'm mad. Heck, Heck, I even got him telling me about his weird dreams about Cecilia. Matt! Cece. Transform! Ah!
You dreamt about what? You're crazy. Now get out of my office.
No, I assured him he's not crazy. Everybody has weird dreams. Not quite like that, but everybody's got weird dreams. Cecilia hanging out with my man? Oh, hell no. Watching the river flow by is so relaxing.
Yeah.
Hope you don't mind if I cut in. Well, I guess we could, talk. Just so you know, I don't really like chatting with people, but I don't know, you're different. Fun to talk to, even.
I'm wearing you down.
Forget it. Well, one cute glance his way and I send him running. Wait, don't go! Let me love you! Of course, these cutscenes aren't the only events with your potential spouse in this game. There are a couple of romantic festivals that you can spend together, usually watching the fireworks or listening to music. They're cute little scenes that can be revisited in each chapter of the game, though what I like is that the dialogue between you and your honey changes as the years go by. And of course, once you view all the hard events and max out your beloved's affection rate, something that's now very easily checked by opening up a menu, you get to propose in true Harvest Moon fashion, with a blue feather. Now, there is a reverse proposal at the end of the year, but I'm not waiting that long. That's, not for me, is it? No, I'm just showing it off again. Of course it's for you! While Matt does have some cute cutscenes, the proposal scene I found a little underwhelming. He'll be there to take care of me, but still plans on helping out at his sister's farm, which is totally fine. But dang, where is that adorable awkwardness I've come to expect from him? And of course, at the end of the year, the day of the wedding comes, which basically amounts to the two of us walking around town announcing we're married now. Not quite the wedding I've come to expect in other Harvest Moon games. Take good care of Matt, you hear? His only fault's that he's constantly overthinking things. Oh great, so there'll be two of us overthinking things. Thanks. Seriously, Vesta? You do get the option to have your spouse call you by a nickname, but I usually just default to my name. Nobody's calling me Schmoopy!
You call me Schmoopy, you're Schmoopy.
You're Schmoopy.
You're Schmoopy.
The remake does add in an extra scene that I guess is kinda supposed to make up for the lack of an actual wedding, and it's okay, I guess, but still, it's not quite the wedding with the entire town that I wanted.
I want a wedding in church with bridesmaids and flowers.
After picking if you want a son or daughter, or just to be surprised, the game moves into the next chapter. There are 6 chapters in Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, each lasting 1 in-game year, or 40 days. Each chapter starts with an intro narrated by Takakura like he's talking to your father about the different updates in your life, family, and farm. The first chapter that I just went through was about getting started and getting married, but moving forward some years later, and look at this, a little bundle of joy! Now, I saw this kid's dark hair and those bright blue eyes, and I knew what I had to name her. Jadzia.
Just wanted to make sure everyone was awake.
She's a cute little baby and loves to be held and played with, even when I'm working and just stopping by to say hello. Oh, she's worth it. The town has changed a little bit since the last chapter as well. We've got a new family moving into town. Garrett, who commutes to the city most days, his wife San, a rather proper lady, and their daughter Kate. Would you like some rice soaked in tea? It's quite good, I assured you. Well, don't mind if I do. I only offered it out of formality. To think you would actually accept. How brazen. Excuse me? Bear in mind that this is a Japanese game, and apparently this is a way of politely asking people to leave. It's something that gets a little lost in the translation. I wonder how that older couple, Nina and Gary, are doing. After all, I used to visit them quite a bit during the first chapter. Dr. Baddock? But where are... Oh no. Oh no. Nina! Oh, Gary, you're still here. Gary moved out by himself near the edge of town in a tiny little house, but During the second chapter, he's in deep mourning for Nina, so you can't really interact with him a whole lot. This does add some realism to the game. Yes, characters can get old and die, and their loved ones mourn for them, and that's a part of life. Luckily, by Chapter 3, Gary comes around and you can start talking to him again. You can even help clean up Nina's grave in a little mini-game. Speaking of Chapter 3, my kid's growing up! And she seems to be taking an interest in ranching. As your kid grows up, he or she will develop interests and skills in various areas, and you can influence which career he or she takes. Because I'm married to Matthew, my kid will have a natural interest in the farm life, though you can influence your kid to pursue music, art, sports, or even academia. But my kid's pretty cheerful. After all, Takakura calls her a little ray of sunshine, so it's not all bad. What do you want with me? It's not like I'm important. What the hell? She hasn't even reached the teenage years yet. Ah well, she still enjoys festival with her old man and old mama.
Then I can call you old man.
Heck, she's even gotten close with Takakura, who's like an uncle to her. It's kind of adorable.
Many months later.
Oh my gosh, what happened to my kid? My daughter is in perpetual PMS mode in this chapter. Ugh, I'm too miserable of a human being to hang out with. Everyone thinks it. I just know it. Nobody would ever love a girl like me. Ugh, I hate it when Papa gives me the look. It's like he knows exactly what I'm thinking. It just really grays my hair. And the entire town knows my kid's PMSing!
Is your kid in a foul mood or something?
Well, thanks to Jadzia, this is the point in the game where the townspeople begin to age. Except for the old people for some reason. They look basically how they did when I got here. Some characters have streaks of gray or wrinkles starting to show up, while others have aged pretty gracefully, maybe with a new outfit to signify the march of time. Characters like Hugh, who were once kids at the start of the game, are starting to grow up and become adults. Heck, even Jadzia started to take a shine to him. Maybe things won't be so... Ugh, I'm too...
Oh my god!
But on the plus side, my farm's really taken off. Even Matt's feeling better, the country air and married life doing him a world of good. Now, if only Jadzia would chill out! Well, at least things got better when Jadzia decided to follow in my footsteps. It's not like anyone would ever love me anyway. Oh, come on! And holy moly did I get old. Excuse me, why didn't my husband age as well? In fact, barely anyone that's about my age turned as old as I did.
I'm 27.
I look like the same age as Romana here, and she looked that way at the start of the game. Why am I the only one aging like this? Your hair is going totally white, and I think I see some wrinkles on you now. Shut up, Matt! Oh, you'll always be handsome, Matt! It's at this point that the game starts to wind down for me, and to be honest, most Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons games have this point. Your farm's established, you're sitting atop a nice pile of money, and there's nothing new to buy. Or nothing that you want to buy. No, I'm not buying the creepy, possibly sentient bear for that kind of money! But I was determined to finish this game until the end, because as I mentioned before, I never made it to the end of the original games, and frankly, the first game was paced horribly. The original game is like 10 in-game years long with even less to do, and I'm starting to run out of stuff to do in the remake, which has even more stuff to do at around year 5. So even if I never saw the end of the originals, I was determined to see the end of this one. But even with the shorter years than most Harvest Moon games, this game really drags at the end. I'm old, I have more money than I know what to do with, my daughter's whining about nobody loving her even as an adult, my husband keeps repeating the same bits of dialogue over and over again, and I spend my days traveling, digging at the dig site, and fishing waiting for the end. As your husband, I'm the luckiest man alive. We should come back again next year. No, every year, from now on. Promise me, okay, Janelle? Hey, let's not pack it in just yet. Takakura's still going strong, so we gotta keep up. Several days later. Come on, Janelle, wake up! I'm so sorry. That's right, I died. Years of farm work had finally taken its toll on me. And apparently I got a cut-rate doctor who couldn't even figure out why I died. Isn't that lovely? And I have to say it, the game really guts you at the end, and I really felt the loss at the end.
I can't believe it. How could Janelle have passed on before me?
And that's a great question. Of all the people in this game, only 2 died. Me and Nina. Literally everyone else outlived me, even the old people. Well, at least the town's going to take care of Jadzia for me. On my honor as a butler, and as your friend, I give you my word. The town is sad at my untimely passing, but they said I lived a good life, surrounded by family and friends.
To know him was to love him. And to love him was to know him.
But at least Jadzia and Matt are taking care of the farm. It really was a wonderful life. But you don't have to be sad that the game is over, because you can keep playing in endless mode, where everyone is young again. You have all your money, animals, crops, and a daughter who still says no one will love her. But to be honest, at this point I was ready to move on. Wow, in little over a month, I experienced the entire life of a simple farmer, through married life all the way to the end. Sounds kind of familiar. Oh no! And that was Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life. I know I said it before in my previous video, but I like that this game fixed all the little annoyances I had with the original games, which, don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed. Now I can charge up my tools, keep track of my recipes, even know where I stand with the rest of the villagers. This game is as much fun as the original, looks nice, and I feel like I really got my money's worth, putting 90 plus hours into this game. Honestly, if you're gonna make a remake, this is how you do it. Is it perfect though? Well, no, nothing is. Some of the character redesigns were misses for me, but they did well by Matt, so I'm happy. And sure, there were bits of dialogue that I wasn't too fond of, but this is very minor. It might be a little while down the road, but I can see myself replaying this game, maybe even organizing my farm better or trying to collect all the collectibles. I'd never say that the original games aren't worth playing, but I have to say that the remake is excellent, and I can probably see myself reaching for the remake before the original games. Sorry guys. While this isn't a typical Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons game, it's still a wonderful life. So what do you think? Have you played Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Have you played the original games, and what did you think of them? And what are some of your favorite farming sims? Please leave comments below and discuss. As always, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Waz Reviews. If you like what you see, why not give my video a like and subscribe to my channel? Tell your friends! Until next time...
Nobody touches my peppers.